What if the moment that truly defines a top star doesn't happen under spotlights, but quietly on a snowy slope when no one is watching? Today's story is exactly that kind of moment. And once you hear it, you may never look at celebrity influence the same way again. The ski resort that day was no different from countless winter mornings. Cold air, muted colors, and people focused on their own paths. Nothing about the scene suggested that it would later resonate with millions. Among the skiers was a figure dressed in black, moving with ease and familiarity, blending into the rhythm of the slope. There was no entourage, no protective distance, no visible separation between him and everyone else. What made the moment striking was precisely this absence of distinction. In a space where fame often announces itself before the person arrives, Wang Yibo appeared simply as another individual enjoying a private interest. No gestures hinted at status. No effort was made to attract attention. This quiet normality unsettled expectations. Viewers later realized that what they were drawn to was not an event, but a mood. The rare sight of someone widely recognized choosing anonymity over recognition. In that stillness, the story found its foundation, not in spectacle, but in restraint. The turning point did not arrive with urgency or drama. It came softly, almost unnoticed. A child stood frozen on the slope, body tense, movements uncertain, fear visible in the smallest gestures. In places like this, hesitation is often passed by. People assume someone else will intervene, but instead of gliding past, one person stopped. The action itself was simple: kneeling down, adjusting equipment, offering calm reassurance. Yet simplicity does not diminish significance. In fact, it sharpened it. The words spoken were neither rehearsed nor elevated. They were practical, protective, and grounded in the moment. What made this scene transformative was not that help was offered, but how it was offered. There was patience without urgency, care without performance. For a brief moment, the slope became something else entirely. Not a place of movement, but a place of safety. That quiet exchange altered the meaning of everything that followed. At first glance, helping a child may seem unremarkable. Yet the reaction revealed how uncommon such moments have become. In an environment shaped by constant visibility, actions are often measured by how they appear rather than what they achieve. Kindness, when it occurs, is frequently framed, shared, and repeated. This moment resisted that pattern. There was no pause to observe reactions, no attempt to control the narrative. Once the situation was resolved, the individual involved stepped away, returning to his own path as though nothing notable had occurred. That choice, to leave quietly, was what unsettled people the most. It reminded viewers of something almost forgotten, that genuine actions do not seek validation. They exist fully in the moment they are needed and dissolve once their purpose is fulfilled. In a world increasingly shaped by performance, restraint feels radical. And that is why this moment lingered. It did not ask to be remembered, yet it was. When the story surfaced online, the response was not explosive, but thoughtful. Rather than loud admiration, there was a sense of calm respect. People spoke less about fame and more about character. The conversation shifted from who he is to how he behaves, when no outcome is guaranteed. This represents a different understanding of influence. True influence does not command attention, it earns trust. It does not persuade through image, but through example. Viewers did not feel instructed or impressed. They felt reassured. The moment subtly suggested that decency still has a place in public life, even when it goes unnoticed. That reassurance mattered. It offered a quiet counterpoint to the fatigue many feel towards public figures. Instead of distance, it created closeness. Instead of admiration, it fostered recognition. Influence in this case was not loud enough to overwhelm, but steady enough to remain. What deepened the impact was the sense that this moment did not stand alone. As discussions unfolded, people recalled other small, unpublicized gestures from the past. Nothing dramatic, nothing headline-worthy, just patterns of behavior that aligned. Consistency changes how actions are interpreted. A single moment can be accidental. Repetition suggests intention. Not a calculated one, but a personal standard quietly maintained. This is where the idea of stardom dissolves. What remains is habit, how someone treats others when no reward is visible, how they move through ordinary spaces without needing acknowledgement. Such consistency builds credibility over time. It cannot be manufactured quickly, nor maintained without sincerity. Viewers recognized this instinctively, and it altered their response. The focus shifted from praise to acceptance. This was not about elevating someone above others. It was about recognizing steadiness in a world drawn to extremes. Audiences did not connect because the story was impressive. They connected because it felt familiar. Many saw reflections of moments they had experienced or hoped for. Someone stepping in quietly, without judgment, when reassurance was needed most. The emotional response was gentle but lasting. It did not provoke excitement. It created calm. In an overstimulated media environment, calm has become rare and therefore valuable. Viewers felt included, not as spectators, but as participants in a shared understanding. That kindness does not need scale to matter. It needs timing, presence, and sincerity. This connection extended beyond admiration. It invited self-reflection. People asked themselves what they might do in similar situations, not because they were inspired to imitate a celebrity, but because they were reminded of their own capacity to choose attentiveness. That is why the story endured. It spoke softly, and people leaned in to listen. Long after the details fade, what remains is not the setting or the identity involved, but the feeling the story left behind. A sense of quiet reassurance. A reminder that public life does not always have to feel distant or performative. The impression was not built on emotion alone, but on balance. Nothing was exaggerated. Nothing was framed as extraordinary. That restraint allowed the moment to breathe, and in doing so, it gave viewers space to hold onto it. This is how lasting impressions form, not through intensity, but through clarity. The story did not tell audiences what to think. It showed them something real and trusted them to feel it. In the end, the moment asked very little of its audience, only that they notice. And perhaps that they remember how powerful ordinary decency can be when it appears without warning. That, quietly, is why it stayed. If stories like this remind you that warmth still has a place in today's world, you're in the right place. Thank you for watching Star Watch Now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow the channel for more thoughtful stories that explore the human side of stardom. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next video.